Daredevil's second season is fascinating in how it handles multiple storylines. For instance, the introduction of Frank Castle, Elektra, and how they would then tie into the overarching antagonist, the Hand. Considering they were incorporating so much into this one season, it didn't actually feel bloated. It just disrupted the nice, simple narrative flow that the previous season had followed.
Daredevil's brand of justice is ridiculous to Frank, yet he's such a worthy adversary.
It's really this very confronting relationship.
You run around this city like it's your damn shooting gallery.
I do the one thing that you can't. You hit them and they get back up. I hit them and they stay down.
So, before the production of this season, the previous showrunners Drew Goddard and Stephen S. DeKnight departed, which brought in Doug Petrie and Marco Ramirez. These guys were actually a good choice, as both had worked as writers on the first season. This meant that the show could keep that similar tone, you know? The production team also maintained a similar visual style of season 1, keeping this noir theme which depicts Hell's Kitchen perfectly in my opinion. This is something that I felt Daredevil Born Again was desperately missing, but more on that another time. Daredevil's costume this time around is much more streamlined and allows for some great choreography stunts. However, the new additions like Elektra and the Punisher don't show off their classic looks till like the final episode, as Netflix used to tease us like that. Elektra's costume though, throughout the show was still great, but very simplistic, and with the Punisher, his classic look we saw from far away at first, and then we get a close-up in like the very last scene. Talking of choreography, we get the return of some awesome close-ranged fights, such as the stairway fight as Daredevil descends from a building full of gang members, and this acts as a successor to the hallway fight from season 1, only just as good. The writing team deserves credit for tackling the introduction of not one, but 2 major characters from Daredevil's comic history, creating compelling arcs for both Frank Castle and Elektra, while keeping a light on the core cast. Like I said earlier, this could have resulted in a messy, overcrowded story, however it does weave together quite well. Again, this season is long-winded with 13 episodes, all an hour long, and that did affect the pacing. I would say throughout the middle of the series, as this is when both Castle's and Elektra's storylines were needing the most attention. But that has to be my only criticism of the way this season is structured. Now onto the characters, as Charlie Cox continues to shine as Matt Murdock. Season 2 seems to delve into his philosophy a hell of a lot more, making him decide between Punisher's more lethal approach and Matt's more legal route. Not only that, but Elektra is also on Matt's opposing side, pulling him further away from his own moral code, you know? As it was in the previous season, Charlie Cox's performance is still impeccable. The way he captures so many emotions through his voice alone makes this show outstanding. His arguments with Frank Castle is something this series is renowned for, and the way the writers articulate that is beyond fascinating.
You think God made you a one-man firing squad, but you're wrong. There is goodness in people, even in you.
Talking of the Punisher, John Berthnell delivers the most realistic performance as Frank Castle I've seen. He just conveys this character with a lot of passion, and you can tell in the way he delivers his lines.
I think that the people I kill need killing. That's what I think.
You left men hanging from meat hooks.
They got off easy, in my opinion.
A lot of people say this, but this, for me, is what I consider the definitive version of the Punisher. The fact he's back in Daredevil Born Again and apparently Spider-Man Brand New Day is amazing. I can't wait for that. The best part about Frank Castle though is that he's not a 2D character. This guy has depth and a hell of a lot of backstory. The writers knew what they were doing, creating this mysterious and deeply traumatized character, only for them to not delve into it this season, but create his own show to answer all those questions. Elodie Young brings the character of Elektra to life, and she does it with ease. Elektra is a dangerous yet vulnerable character. Young pulls it off really well. Her introduction helps us gather some more information on Matt Murdock's background and his college years. They have a complicated relationship. And this brings me back to what I said about her trying to sway Matt in the other direction, as the first week of their meeting, she literally hands Roscoe Sweeney, the man that killed his dad, over on a silver platter, antagonizing Matt to kill him.
He knows your name. Cut his throat. Kill him.
She's pretty intense, huh? There were some revelations with Elektra and Stick and how she's destined to be the Black Sky or whatever, and I like that. It shows she wasn't just meant to be a relationship subplot and was always meant to have more depth than that. Now for some facts and Easter eggs from season 2. John Berthnell isolated himself from cast members during filming to maintain the Punisher's sense of alienation, only socializing with them after his major scenes were completed. The rooftop scene with Frank Castle in Daredevil took 2 full nights to film and was shot in freezing temperatures, with the actor's breath visible in many takes. Several scenes include subtle references to Bullseye, which would later appear as a villain in season 3. My take on this season is that it left me wanting more, and that can be viewed in both a good and bad light. Good because it left me with major anticipation for season 3, which added to the season's incredible performance, and bad because it was lacking something that would have improved the finale, and that was a memorable climax. Now, from what I remember, it's been about a year since I rewatched them all now, but the finale of season 2 was dull, and the most I can remember is that it was set on a rooftop and Elektra dies. We needed something more than that, something iconic. If you think back to season 3, and to be fair, season 1's finale, they had some terrific choreography and, more importantly, writing. With season 2, it was lackluster, and while the fighting was good, it didn't feel as effective. Oh, and don't get me started on the Punisher's involvement in that fight. Just a few shots from a rifle, that's all we get? He was holding a minigun in the promotional posters. What? Other than that little rant, the show is strong and will always be my favorite superhero series. While this season can feel dry compared to the rest of them, it's still a fascinating inclusion, and a bloody good one at that.